Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition? Stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion. Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die.
Here we are.
Here we are. Once again, welcome to your Thursday night talks. And I want to first start off in the most holy name of Allah, always bearing witness that there is no God but Allah and Muhammad is his messenger. I would like to greet you all in a beautiful greeting words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, ma'am.
And to my Christian family, praise the Lord. We're going to get right into it. I'm so excited. And again, this is our relationship series. And please,
it has not ended.
It's not ended. So
this is what you need to do right now, dear family. You need to copy and paste the URL and share it with everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody. You got to say it like that. Everybody.
Okay.
Everybody, Brother Mark. Everybody.
Praises be to Allah. So we have, again, as you all have read the title of our show, we have two beautiful couples. Oh my God. And you will all see
awesomely beautiful couples.
Oh my God. I mean, listen, I want to try to be like them when I grow up. So you will see when we start asking these questions. And please start sending your questions. We need questions as well from the audience. So
don't hold back.
Don't hold back. Don't hold back. Don't hold back. All right. But with that being said, I am going to turn it over to you, Brother Tony, and we can get started.
All praise is due to Allah. Beloved family, in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, the one God to whom holy praises all forever due, the Lord of the worlds, who came in the person of Master Farrakhan Muhammad, the supreme being, to whom holy praises all forever due. I am forever thankful to Almighty God Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and I thank them both for the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you, Abaragani, Hotep, free the land, buenas noches, sakpase, greetings in all the beautiful ways that our people greet one another in. Welcome to your Thursday night talks, which is spearheaded by the 7th Region Coalition to help save lives. The 7th Region Coalition to help save lives was assembled by our student regional minister, Student Minister Patrick Muhammad, here in the 7th Region. Soon after the criterion message of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on July 4th, 2020. My God, it's almost 6 years. And we're still going.
Still going. No praises to Allah.
And we were assembled, beloved family, with the idea in mind to save lives. in the midst of that time, Sister Kalila, we were in the midst of the pandemic,
Right.
which was riddled with so much misinformation about a vaccine, about how to stay safe, about what to do in that time. Well, we're still living in an era and a time of so much misinformation. It's a pandemic of misinformation, a pandemic of misinformation in this case about how to conduct yourself properly in a relationship, how to have a successful relationship with someone else, how to have a successful marriage. Tonight, we want the testimony of our of these beautiful and awesome couples that we have in the nation of Islam. And so tonight's program is focused on the ministry of spiritual development.
Yes, sir.
It is the head ministry out of the 9 ministries given to us by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan back in 2005 in the midst of the Millions More movement. It is the head ministry because spirituality must be the base from which we make all decisions. This ministry bears responsibility for assisting the individual member of the community in the process of heeding truth and right guidance. Respect, honor, and obedience to the authority of the Creator in all aspects of life are essential to peace, harmony, freedom, justice, and equality. In the words of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, self-development is an absolutely essential component of this microcosm of the new world. It is not enough that we grow horizontally through the acquisition of farms, factories, banks, industry, trade, commerce, money, good homes. Horizontal growth alone is death. All dead things are on a horizontal level. Therefore, we must grow vertically, grow in uprightness, or we will be overcome by our horizontal growth. The foundation of this ministry are study and training units designed on the guidance of Allah God to produce self-examination, self-analysis, self-correction, and to quicken in each and every one of us the self-accusing spirit. For it's only when we are awakened morally that we have to face the self-accusing spirit that leads to our resurrection. With that, one introducing our guest tonight is Brother Mark. Brother Mark, I hand it over to you.
All praise Allah.
Well, Brother Mark, you'll be coming afterwards. I'm sorry, Sister Katrina. I'm sorry. You introducing.
Allahu Akbar.
Yes, sir.
Guys.
Yes, sir. It's all good.
I'm so used to turning it over to Brother Mark. Go ahead.
That's all right.
That's because we have a lot of guests. We've been blessed with a lot of guests today, so totally understand. It's all good.
I'm here getting excited.
Praise be to Allah. Assalamu alaikum, family.
Wa alaikum salam.
I'm so excited. We have a great show today. Just like our beautiful sister Kalila said, a lot of diversity here in the show that we're offering you today, from essentially newlyweds to a couple who's been in the game for a while and has a lot of experience to share with us. So let me read the first person. That would be Sister Nyah Sai Muhammad. She is a Chicago-based architectural professional who earned her Bachelor of Science in Architecture from UIC in 2023 and is currently pursuing her Master of Architecture at Illinois Institute of Technology. She serves as an associate partner at Beehive L3C and has nearly 3 years of experience managing design phases, collaborating with clients, and delivering high-quality architectural solutions. She is also a co-founder of the MUI School of Architecture. That's right, you heard that, MUI School of Architecture, and supports youth education through programs with the Chicago Architecture Center and Illinois Chapter National Organization of Minority Architects, INOMA. Long acronym. But anyway, beyond her professional work, Sister Nyah is a wife, a student, in the Nation of Islam, Chicago student ministry class, a member of the MGT's I Deny, and contributes as an actress for the eco-friendly cleaning YouTube channel, Let's Get It Clean. You've seen her. We want to welcome her, Sister Nyah.
All right.
Now I'll turn it over to Brother Mark.
And I will introduce Sister Nyah's husband. Brother Musa Muhammad is 26 years old and an active striving FOI, Fruit of Islam, out of Muhammad Mosque number 2 in Chicago, is a member of the student ministry class and is a licensed architect himself in Illinois. Studying architecture caused him to develop many skills and attributes, solving design challenges while creative solutions, project management, coordinating between the different parties involved in projects, public speaking, and presentation skills, and the act of putting oneself in others' shoes, just to name a few. Brother Musa also has an affinity for teaching and tutoring and has experience in elementary school and tutoring college courses. Sister Kalila?
Praises be to. I'm gonna bring them up just because I just wanted to see their face. Yeah, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see their face. Walaikum salam.
Walaikum salam to you both.
Welcome, family.
Okay, so let me get to our next guest. Sister Ayanna D. Muhammad, social studies, history team leader, and curriculum developer. Sister Ayanna D. Muhammad is an award educator with over 20 years of experience in the classroom. She is a certified teacher who has taught within both the public school, Muhammad Mosque University of Islam, as a homeschool instructor and tutor. She has taught a variety of academic levels ranging from early childhood learning to high school, but specialized in middle school core subjects. Sister Ayanna demonstrates her love for education at the young age and has poured her blessings into the Nation of Islam by contributing to the development of workbooks and the courses of the MGT and GCC. Oh my God, the best curriculum in the world, by the way. Sister Ayanna's passion for education is in her driving force in the world and life. I'm going to read that again. Sister Ayanna's passion for education is her driving force in the world and life purpose that she shares. What is that word? Enthusiastically with her community. Both, yes. Right. I just got excited about the MGT class. Y'all just got to see. I'm just saying. Both at home and abroad. Please show your love for our dear sister Ayanna D. Muhammad. But before we get to her, we're going to actually have Brother Tony to bless us with her husband's bio as well. Thank you.
Right. So I'm reading Student Minister Abel Muhammad's bio.
Yes.
And he was born on December 13th, 1974 in Chicago, Illinois, of Mexican parents from Querétaro, Mexico. Student Minister Abel Muhammad is a true son of the Latin American immigrant experience. While attending Whitney Young High School, he was first introduced to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad under the guidance of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. From that moment on, Brother Abel intensely researched the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad to see where the Latin American community fit within its message, carrying the principles learned into his activist work. After much study, he became a registered member of the Nation of Islam in 1998, where he quickly rose through the ranks as a drill team member, lieutenant, and eventually joined the ministry class at Mosque Mariam, the nation's flagship mosque. It is where he showed his gifts of being able to address both Black and Latin American communities, forging unity between the two. Student Minister Abel has a unique insight into the issues of the Latin American community, having served as a director of Centro Sin Fronteras Immigrant Legal Assistance Program, working for the Puerto Rican Federal Affairs Administration's voter education campaigns, and traveling to Cuba with Reverend Lucius Walker and Pastors for Peace to deliver medical and educational supplies. Student Minister Abel was also a part of the campaign to free Puerto Rican political prisoner Oscar Lopez Rivera. He has spoken at churches, mosques, universities, community gatherings, and numerous panels about the need for the unity of oppressed people and the collective demand for social justice. Student Minister Abel has been married for 21 years and has 4 beautiful children with his lovely wife, Ayanna. He is a student minister of the Honorable Minister Farrakhan and is based out of Mosque Mariam in Chicago, Illinois. Please welcome him and Sister Ayanna to the show. There they are. There they are.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Walaikum salam.
I'm sorry, Student Minister Abel and Sister Ayanna corrected me. 25 years. That bio needs to be updated.
Yeah. 25
I apologize.
Praises be to Allah. Well, we're going to actually get started because this show has been on the radar for almost a week. And the people are like, hey, we need to get some couples on here. We hear all the wonderful actual facts and all of the good things, but we want to see some real live action, some actual facts,
some
as it relates,
couples.
as it relates to couples, right?
Real conversation.
Some real conversation. So we're definitely going to get started. So I'm going to actually point my direction to Brother Musa and Sister Nyah. In your pursuit of seeking the one, how did you know that the two of you were the one for each other?
In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. Assalamu alaikum once again. And thank you all for welcoming us onto the show. It's truly an honor and a privilege. And we pray that Allah blesses us to share what we have on our hearts to enlighten and enliven the spirit of everyone who's watching. I think I can start by saying that the basis of our courtship and the way we came together kind of set the tone for this. The way we came together wasn't based on like physical attraction. It wasn't like, oh, she's cute, I'm sliding her DM and but what initially really attracted us to one another was each other's spirit and our work ethic. Sister Nyah and I, you heard earlier that we co-founded the MUI School of Architecture, and that's sort of how we began to get to know one another, is working together to make these programs for our students. And in that, I got to see, one, her work ethic, which I loved because she's the same kind of crazy that I am. And that but I got to see how much she loved Allah and how much that she relied on him.
Mm.
And then even before that, you know, our parents were helping us and guiding us through this process. I thank Allah for my mother and my father, because not only have they set a wonderful example for me growing up, but I asked my father specifically, what kind of qualities should I look for in a partner? And he gave me a list of qualities, but he actually told me specifically that, and this is before we even started courting, that she was the one for me. And so he put this on my mind, and so I'm considering it. But of course, it wasn't until we started courting that I got to be able to see our compatibility, and we really got to know one another. I'll try to, you know, get to the point, but really it was her love for Allah and her respect for the courtship process. If I had to really summarize it, but that was really what got me all throughout our courtship. She made it, and I would say better than I did. She made it a point to make sure we did everything, and I mean literally everything right. And I thank Allah for it, because it kept the focus on what's important, on actually us figuring out whether or not we're fit to go through this great struggle called marriage, to become one with each other. But even that term of being the one, there's more to it. I could talk about the prayers that were said for Allah to confirm things for us. But what I don't want anyone to be under the impression that, you know, once you find the one, that everything is just smooth and easy. And the minister has reminded us that, you know, just because we're a beautiful couple doesn't mean that things will always be rosy.
Right.
And as soon as I forgot what Brother Abel, it might have been you. Brother Abel is actually the one that did our wedding, and it might have been, I forgot who it was, but somebody said that once you say I do, all that compatibility stuff that we talk about in courtship goes out the window. Because now you're really in it. And Nyah reminds me of this quote from the minister all the time, where he teaches us that we have to mine our partners, or shape our partners to be what we want them or what we desire them to be. And so us being the one for each other is not just something that you find. Yes, you find compatibility, but once you come together and you make that vow before Allah and with each other, then you guys are working to make each other the one every single day. Every single moment. We're striving, how can I be the best for myself and for her, and how can she do the same for me?
Praises be to Allah.
Yes,
I think,
yes,
ma'am. In addition to what my husband said, I think this is a question I would always ask everybody leading up to our marriage. How do you know that someone is the one? And the answer I would always get is, you just know. You know when you know. And my word is bond to Allah. I understand that now, because I also went through that myself. I just knew it was, of course, with confirmation from Allah. And in Brother Nuri's Before You Say I Do book, he talks about the 30-70 rule, where you create a list of what you would like to see in a partner, what you would like to have in a partner, qualities. And if that person meets at least 70% of those qualities, then you guys have some compatibility. And maybe he can share what his percentage was for me, but Musa actually met 100% of everything that I listed.
He's like, you
see? He's popping collars. He's popping collars.
Touchdown.
You did too. You did too.
He said I did too.
So
that was the initial thing. And then as we continued through the courtship process, of course, I was representing I Deny. So I did want to make sure that everything was done correctly. And I Deny is divine essence in you. a part of the MGT and GCC class.
That's right.
And then just asking Allah for confirmation throughout. Allah, if he is not the right person, please show me. And if he is the right person, please show me. And I had asked that of Allah on numerous occasions, and I felt like I got confirmation. I did get confirmation every time that I asked. And it wasn't until we actually had an outing with Sister Ayanna and Brother Abel, and they shared with us, Sister Ayanna shared with us her story of her asking Allah for confirmation. And she told both of us that we should also ask Allah for a specific confirmation. So like, that it's Allah, like there's no going back. And so that night I was like, oh my God, I haven't asked Allah for something specific. So what if he's not the right one? By this point, were we in courting or engaged?
We were courting, Bill. I think we were like 8 months in.
Okay. So it was either that night or the following morning. I made a prayer on my way to work. And I think maybe it was spring. So some butterflies were out, but not that many. And where I work, you may not see butterflies. But I asked Allah to show me a beautiful butterfly when I got to my office. So I was so nervous. I was freaking out my whole drive to my office. And I've always come down this alley to pull up to our parking spot. And as I was driving down the alley, 2 beautiful butterflies started dancing on my windshield, like right above my windshield. And I said, okay, Allah. Let me not go into the office crying. But I heard you loud and clear. All praises due to Allah. And then the last thing I'll share is that in 2019, maybe, I was blessed to have a conversation with the minister when I was working at the farm. And this day, he told me that my mother would be the one to help me choose my mate. He said that she would be there to help you when that time comes. And so I also have to say thank you to Allah for my mother, because we are family friends, and she did help guide me through this journey. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you all so much.
Wow.
That was beautiful.
Praise be to Allah.
Awesome.
Well, I have a question. I'm gonna first direct it to Sister Ayanna and Student Minister Abel, but both couples could answer this question. And for some of us, this is a virtue. But how important is communication in a healthy marriage? What strategies do you use in order to ensure effective communication with each other is established?
You can start.
Okay.
All right.
Communication.
One of the things I realized when I looked at that question, and I really thought about that question, is it is an ongoing, it's constantly developing, because we're always changing.
Right.
It's constantly developing. So I really thought about that question. And the better you know yourself and your relationship, your communication, your first communication is with Allah.
Right.
And the better that you know yourself and the better your communication with Allah is, the better the communication between the couples are. Because the couple communication is a direct reflection of the communications that we have with Allah. And when we're not communicating well with Allah, we tend not to be communicating well with one another. I mean, it's just the truth. So like when you find yourself feuding a lot in your marriage, and that does happen. When you find yourself feuding, look at your relationship with Allah. Look at how often you make your prayers. How much are you studying? How much of the word is present with you? Because it's not something that's stagnant. It's not something I can say like, oh, well, just do this, and this. Like it really isn't, because if it's only one of me and one of him, then our synergy, our communication with our God that made us specially made is very different in communication than it would be a Musa and a Nyah. So like our communications that I'll say that, we try to keep them very private. Because like that communication should be private. We have children, even private, away from our children, even in that communication. And I would say some of those basic tenets, like making sure that you're calm enough to have a communication, because nothing gets solved in high emotions. If you're emotional, you can't even see the situation clearly. So first, there has to be an assessment of self. And I found like when you give yourself a second to assess yourself, you will approach those difficult conversations very differently than when you just, flying off, you even see that's the communication with Allah, because that communication with Allah, when we're striving to be connected to Allah, we're striving to look inside of ourselves. You can even see where you might play a part. So your initial reaction might be anger, but if you pause in those moments and think, you'll be surprised at what you would find that would make that communication better. No one wants to be attacked. No one wants, to be head on, collided with. Most people want to be validated. Most people want I think the basic tenet is treating people how you want to be treated. Right. It is not some high science. It's really just treating people how you want to be treated. How would you want to be addressed when your flaws are manifested?
Wow.
How do you want that person to say something to you when they see because there's no better witness of your shortcomings than your mate. So how do you want that person to say to you or shine that little light on that thing that could be affecting your relationship? If you were the person, how would you want that said to you? And we always say treat people how we want to be treated. It's such a simple statement, yet a very complex thing for us to achieve, because we have to move ego out the way to have effective communication as well. That if the communication, what is your aim? What is your intention when you say it? Is it to crush your mate? Or is it to bring about peace and understanding? See, the intention set helps the communication. Right. So that's why the approaching it, treating you how I want to be treated. If I'm pausing for a second and saying, wait a minute, I'm really upset. It's really, really bothering me. What's the actual problem? The first communication is with yourself. We talk about communicating with others, but the first real communication is with yourself and Allah. And once that communication happens, you can then turn around and have a conversation with your mate. And even if they don't receive it in that moment, it's something about when you take the time to communicate with Allah, you have a capacity to be patient and wait. And you have the capacity to look at it again, reconfigure it again, and find another moment again. So I would say that first communication is first with Allah and understanding who you are. And what is your intention? What is your motive behind your communication? That sets the tone for effective communication. So
and I would just add on to it just that
excellent.
The concept of communication. I think we're not even clear on that. So it starts with defining. So you have to stop before you speak. And like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, we've been told us to think 5 times before we speak.
That's right.
Well, if you have a mate, you should probably think 10 times, 5 for yourself and 5 for them.
Right.
But not just as not just for sport, but as a real exercise. Because in those 5 to 10 rethinks and refinement of the idea, you're clear on what point you're trying to get over. And you're going over, that's not quite the word, the sound that I want to reach them. Communication, I learned while I was studying the Dianetics, that communication is actually duplication. Meaning that only communication has transpired if I have something clear in my mind and now it's clear in the receiver's mind. Once that is duplicated in another, that's communication. Otherwise, you don't have communication.
Come on, man.
Because if you now understand, if you have the thought that I have, now you understand what I'm saying. That's the whole objective of communication. Communication is not, I have something to say. That's not communication. That's venting. That's frustration. Communication is, I have an idea, I have a feeling, I have something I want to communicate to you so that you will see things the way I see them, because you're not me. You can't see them without me first being clear on what I am looking at, and then being clear and refined in not just saying it the way I see it, but I'm trying to see it, make another person see it the way I see it.
Yes.
That's a very different practice, and it's not easily done. It should be easier with your spouse because you all are together all the time, so you're learning them a little bit deeper. But even that sometimes can be troublesome, because it's not just, I'm going to say it right now, because are they in a state to receive what I'm saying? Am I in a state to relay what I'm trying to say?
Wow.
Is it going to come off, or is the anger going to come off? Is the depression or the sadness or whatever we're feeling, is even my overly overexpression of joy going to cloud some of what I'm saying? And if I fall flat, now my feelings are going to be hurt. All of that has to be calculated. And it really is, if we look at it this way, you're talking to God. You're talking to the God in your spouse. And sometimes we don't consider that. Would you yell at God? No, nobody would rationally yell at God, but we do it every day.
You might be guilty.
You might be guilty. do we, even like roll our, eyes at, we would never do that. But in our spouse, we're looking at that. So we have to never, I remember one thing that Student Minister Jeffrey told me and my wife when we first got married. I remember him saying it to me, and I believe he said it to both of us. Don't become common.
That's it.
Excellent.
It's just like, that's my, whatever. She's my wife. Yeah. And you loved her because you see something special for you. And it's in the Holy Quran where it says that Allah made for us from ourselves our mates. Think about that. From us, he made our mate, but they're not us. Even our own children. We have children now. We're blessed to have them. They're from us, but they're not us. So each one of them, we have to learn to communicate with in their way so that the point can get across to them. And we have to take the time, and this word keeps coming up for me today, consideration. Consider means to think about deeply and care about. I remember Student Minister Ishmael told us that the male is not considerate by nature. In our pre-marriage counseling.
That's facts.
That men have to develop consideration over time.
That's so true.
And it's true. It's true. The woman, it's natural. That's why they can. Are you okay? They're always observing and noticing what you need without us verbally expressing it. They can feel it. They can read it. It's nature.
Right.
We don't have that by nature. Some of us can learn it quicker than others, but overall, it takes men much longer. That's why we like lists. What do we need? Give me a list. I'll do it. I don't want to think about it too deeply. You like tomatoes. How many tomatoes? I'm not considering what you're making. I just want to know what we need. So this is something to really, really think about. It's something that as males and females, we're mates, we're partners, we're cooperators with one another. She's a help meet to us, but we have to have a goal that we're trying to meet for her to help us with. All of that involves communication. There's no aspect of life that doesn't have communication. So one of the most difficult things, I think, in particular from the male perspective, is because we're in a world that we feel the stress of it. We are constantly, if we are in any kind of work capacity in the world, we're constantly entering an environment that is hostile for us.
Yes, sir.
And we have to guard our communications in many of those instances and be super hypersensitive to how we say it, what people are saying to us. When we now get home, sometimes it's difficult to now decompress from that. And now, after having 8 to 10 hours in an exhaustive environment behind enemy lines, to come home and now, yes, we have a real wife or even a wife now. Imagine a sister going out to work and now coming home from that same environment. Now, the first thing on our mind may not be, let me communicate and get in tune with my wife. We're trying to decompress. We're trying to unplug. Yeah. And so what actually inadvertently happens is we begin to distance from each other.
Wow.
Because now we're not in communicate, we're not duplicating mind, we're not one mind, we're both on a similar track. And unfortunately, if we stay parallel, that's not good, because that means we never intersect. But what we're trying to do is remember that I've got to, even if it's just for 5 minutes, let me take some time and decompress. How was your day?
Yes.
Not to vent with one another.
Right.
And not really to talk about the day. What we're doing, we're trying to initiate communication. I want to know where your mind is at, so I can share with you where mind is at. And now we can come together again and get ready as a force to leave the door tomorrow to go do what we got to do. But if to stay like that, oh man, you naturally will begin to drift apart. I think that is a key aspect. There's verbal communication, and then there's that other unspoken communication that sometimes, like, we don't need to talk. I can tell you don't want to cook. Let's go get something. And that takes consideration. And that
consideration.
Man, and you're in tune. You're in tune if you're picking that up. I wanted to ask Sister Ayanna and Student Minister Abel a question, but you may have kind of answered it, so I may change it a little bit. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan had once said that when couples, and he was specifically talking about men, needed to say something of a serious nature to their spouse, their wife, one of the first things men should do is remember that the woman needs to be secured. So he said that he would, and he was recounting a conversation he had with our beautiful mother Khadijah, that he first took her hand, and he said, I took her hand gently, softly to secure her first. And secondly, before I even spoke, I checked my tone and how I wanted to communicate whatever it is I wanted to say, because the woman is very sensitive to the tone of the man, right? And that sometimes even a baritone voice in a man, he's not trying to sound intimidating, but it could be intimidating to a woman because he's, you know, that manly voice and it's baritone. And it could create something in her. And then he said he had eye contact with her and communicated with her in a clear way, speaking straight words, and allowed her to return and communicate with him. And then that was their conversation. He was talking about securing the woman, and in a difficult moment of a relationship or dealing with a sensitive topic or a serious topic, how you have dialogue. You all just demonstrated that and talked to us about that in such a beautiful way. My question was going to be regarding the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, how he said argument, right? When we argue, chips away at the love between the couple, and that correction is love. So someone who's saying, you don't correct me, right? But correction is love. With that said, how do you correct each other and or communicate serious, important matters to one another? What do you do, or what do you recommend, I should say, to other couples that are having communication problems? Because some people are having relationship problems and they need help. And the beauty with the two of you is you now have a couple of decades, going on 3 decades, soon to be, inshallah, of your beautiful marriage. I love talking to couples like you because you know a thing or two about this subject. You've been through some things when you've been married a couple decades, going on 3 decades. So can you share that with us? Thank you. And I'm gonna go on mute only because of some background noise.
I would say when in the beginning, when you're young, well, I'll say when we were young Muslims, I mean, like, you know, young in our marriage, we're still young. When we're young in our marriage.
Yes, younger, Sister Ayanna, younger. You're still young. Younger.
You know, that's you know, it takes a minute to get rid of the individualistic mentality. That takes a minute, you know, to relieve yourself of kind of living your way with your own thoughts and the way you do things, you know, with your own living with your own nature, you know, like you haven't had that other component, you know, of a man in your household or, you know, in the context of relationship, you know. And so it takes a minute to learn how to fight fair. You know, like it takes a minute to figure out how to address those difficult topics to try to get the most out of them. You know, it takes a minute, you know. In the beginning, it's usually just it's fire and brimstones. You know, you're like, look, you know, because you know you're young. You're like, I'm not used to these things, you know. But I would say that it goes always back to like treating people how you want to be treated. Things do have to be addressed, you know, because who wants to be in a marriage where they're resenting someone 30 years later? Like, so we just resentfulness because we have tools to solve problems, you know, in our teaching. It's tucked right in our teaching. It is no special, like, you don't have to go read, you don't have to go listen to Dr. Phil. You don't have to, you know, it's like, it's tucked right into our teaching, you know, because how do you solve problems with your sisters that you have a problem with? Right. How do you solve problems with your brothers that you have a problem with? I mean, you're not going to just go charging at them, you know, when you're offended. Some do. And some leave the mosque when they have you know, some, you know, do those things. And that's going to be difficult, you know, for them. But we have a way already to solving problems, and that, you know, and I thank a lot for our teaching, and I couldn't have anyone else but a believing husband. Let me just say that, because that truth is the guiding line between us of our teaching. So that generally those corrections can come. I'll say this. I think that because I find it sometimes just talking to different believers and different couples is that the woman has to know the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Like it is not enough for your husband to know the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. The woman has to know the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because how you address your husband should come from that angle. Because if you come from the woman that the white man made, you're gonna have a problem. If that's your reference point, if that's the angle that you talking to your husband from, or you only feeding off all these memes that's gonna get you behind in some trouble, you know, like on their interpretations of all these relationship concepts, you have to have the teachings of Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad if you want to maintain a marriage with a believing spouse. And that is the guiding principle between me and my husband. So when there is usually when you're offended, it's something to do with the teachings, or it's something to do with you. You know, or something to do with just like it's a dance, you know, of like, you know, touch and go. Sometimes, you know, when you touch the skillet and it's hot, you might not want to put your eggs directly in it when it's too hot, because guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get smoke. So like, you know, you gotta touch that. Like, as much as I want to address, and I had to learn that. Let me say that, because I don't want anything to sound like my biggest fear all the time when we do stuff like this is something sounding like we're already there.
Right.
You know, because these are things that we are constantly striving for, to perfect, to grow into, and we're a lot better today at 25 years. The husband, we have talked about this all the time, that the 25, I love this marriage now. I don't need to look back. I don't want the marriage that we had before, because it's constantly growing. You know, you're constantly figuring things out. The Holy Quran says you don't mature till you're 40 years old. So you don't even attain maturity till you're 40 years old. So the way we got married when I was 24, I was 24 and my husband was 26. 16. And now we're you know, it is. We're in that maturity cycle. I'll say it like that, you know. That
grown folk cycle.
Yeah, there's a difference in the way we relate. That even if it's something that, you know, I can't see what you're saying, I don't understand what you're saying, I'm trying to get you to understand what I'm saying, I don't understand what you say, I'm trying to get you to understand. Okay, let's hold on a second. Let me try to figure out another way to say this. And sometimes it's happening right in the conversation. So it may look argumentative, it may even have a tone of argumentative, but if, again, what's your motive? If the goal is to resolve a problem or resolve an offense, we keep the dance until sometimes we iron out like, oh, I get what you're saying. I understand. You know, oh, that's our maturity, you know. Yes, they'd be like, huh, and I'm out of, I'll come back, but that's now the maturity of like, oh, okay, I got it. Let me say it back to you, okay, you saying this. Okay, yeah, you understand. Thank God. So it's also the reassurance, like when you say it back to me, you telling me that you understand and not just saying I understand.
Communication.
Right.
Yeah, I would also say that your word has to be bond, because sometimes when you say I'm gonna table this and come back to it, and we don't come back to it, then it's that can cause its own thing. Like, so you have to have that. The goal is to resolve it, and even if you can't see what your mate is saying, because that does happen a lot in marriage, because we have different natures. The male's not like the female. That's what we're told, right? So because that is the truth. Sometimes the reason for the argument is I don't feel like you understand what I'm saying to you. I don't feel understood. I don't feel like it doesn't seem like you're grasping what I'm saying. And that can be a real point of contention. Minister Ishmael talked about the ability to hear what's not being said. So it's like that's a dance. That takes maturity to kind of be able to hear what's not being said. And when a person feels understood, that argument thing tends to kind of go all the way down. When they feel understood, they feel the compassion, they feel it goes all the way down. And now we can have a real conversation. When the person, a lot of times if you don't feel understood or feel heard, that high emotion can produce the argumentative atmosphere.
Right.
And the danger that young couples sometimes come into is judging one another. So if it's mixed with the judgment inside of it, it can produce these. You got to always check your garden for those things as individuals that you live in. So check your garden for being judgmental. Check your garden for impatience. Check the garden for those traits that will cause you not to value what your mate is saying, or not to value your mate at all, or maybe or ego. Check the garden for the ego. Those are the grounds for the argumentative nature that can erode the love. That's at the crux of it. When a person, but if they feel understood, look, a woman feel understood, a man feel understood, they're happy. When they feel understood and valued. So
and I'll just add on this, it's two different natures. So there's that understanding looks different from each perspective. And sometimes what you learn over time, if you stay in the fight of the marriage, and I'll say it like it's a fight, because there are forces trying to separate you. And that's why the command is given in the scripture. What God has put together, let no man separate or cleave asunder. Right. So what we want to look at is there are natural forces. We've known people who've been together 7-10 years, quote unquote, right? They're together, they have children, but they're not married. The moment you take those vows, there's different forces from the universe now, positive and negative, working on that relationship. And I think sometimes when we stay inside of ourselves, because we're learning our role now, not as husband, we like to say me and my wife, student husband, student wife, because you don't get to be that. You have to stay in the mode of student, like I'm trying to learn how to do this, then father, that's a new shade of that same thing. Then what, mother, then, uncle, all of these things, father of two, that's a new role now, right? Versus 3 or 4 or 1. All of these are steps, and the way that understanding looks to the male is different than the female. The woman is seeking confirmation. The man is seeking validation in many instances. And the difference is this, because the woman's nature is different. She's looking for security, firmness. They want to make sure that what they're hearing, what they're trusting in, what they're believing is protecting and maintaining is in fact doing that. So that word secure, I love the way you used it in that example, Sister Katrina, where the minister took mother's hand when he was going to talk with her. Well, that's what security is. Security means to attach or fix something so that it doesn't move or get lost. So as a male, every time we talk to our wife, even if it's to correct something that we perceive, because it is just perception. We could be wrong. Is another thing we always have to factor. You perceive something that needs correction in your mate, but this is both for the male and female. Are we security minded first? I'm not trying to lose you. I'm not trying to push you away from me. I want to keep you with me and correct something that I perceive as a negative. So the first thing I want you to know is it's not something, I'm not leaving. I'm not saying that you have, you got to go, go handle this or it's over. That's not, see, that's insecurity. We're confirming we're not going anywhere. I'm attaching you to me. So I love that you said he grabbed her hand for security. Now we'll have this discussion.
He said that. First, I
yeah,
want to just,
exactly.
I don't want to take credit for anything.
No, I'm saying, but I love that you shared
it. The minister saying that.
Absolutely.
And do you know, after he said that, I mean, I cried because I don't know if I had ever heard anybody describe how to handle a woman so beautifully like that with a situation or something you want to talk about. But even if you hot as a man, like you, whatever it is she did, you didn't like the way the bean soup tastes that night, whatever, the way he handled and the way he was describing how to handle the woman, it was so beautiful. I have never forgotten it.
Now, the other thing to remember is he was not talking about his first 5 or 10 years of marriage necessarily. The way he handled it. So the minister he's still mastering. He would never tell us he's the master, but he's still evolving. So he's the standard that we're all trying to get to. But the only way to get there is it takes time. So when the sister perceives something that she needs to correct in the man, the way the man is not looking for security in that sense, they're making sure that you're not now looking at them as less than.
Right.
See, that's a different kind of approach. And sometimes we get locked into our own perspective, like, well, I don't need that. Yeah, because you're a man. You don't need what a woman needs. And she's a woman. She doesn't need. So sometimes we get, it's not a fault or anything like you're limited by your own nature and understanding of things. So and this is, I believe, part of the beauty of the walk of marriage and faith is that I'm learning about the other aspect of myself, which is not my nature, but it is my nature, because part of the female is in every male and part of the male is in every female. So this is actually a gift from Allah where you can wrestle with your own opposing force and then learn to communicate. And if I can correct it in her in the right manner, quote unquote, I'm using that word correction, but to point out something that you see that could be detrimental to them, shouldn't I be as open to that for myself and be digging in myself just as, with as much love and attention, because I have more control over me than I have over her. So I should be examining these things in myself, but we can't behold ourselves. So then our mate is a cover for us. That means that she protects us from the elements. She protects us from that which the outside world doesn't have to be privy to. She knows and he knows all about you. They know about things that the world shouldn't and doesn't want to even know about. Mm-hmm. But we are protectors of one another, that we can find those dark sides of one another and allow one another to grow, to work through those things and grow some even detrimental things into constructive things that can be positive for ourselves, our relationship, and ultimately the world. So that's the walk of faith and the way I think that we need to approach every problem, with the micro, but understanding how it affects as we expand out the macro, the relationship, the community, the community at large, the nation at large, the world ultimately. But it starts with how we communicate with one another, and especially in those very tender and sensitive moments where I know this, I can see the potential for this being detrimental to you. I've got to say something. Babe, you shouldn't have 5 cups of sugar with your coffee in the morning. It's not good. The messenger said some sugar, yes, but not coffee with your sugar. I'm saying it lightly, but that could be somebody who loves you is saying, man, that's diabetes in a year. Now you have insulin. Now it's going to look like in 10 years. See, that's somebody who loves you who would say that to you, right? But how do they say that? Do you say, what's wrong with you? Who's putting all that sugar in your coffee? What's wrong? I mean, you're saying it, but is that the way it's going to be received? And I'll close with this. I remember the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan telling us about, I think it was a 15 or 18-page letter that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad wrote to his son, Imam Warith Muhammad. And I was blessed to read about a page of that online that I found someplace. And I thought it was interesting that the messenger wrote him this long letter by hand, handwritten letter. I think it was between 15 or 18 pages, something like that. And in part of it, he says, I was always trying to find a moment to talk with you about this, but you were never in the right spirit to receive it.
Wow.
That's the messenger of Allah. That's how careful he was, though, with his words to his son. How careful should we be with our word to one another? Because it could potentially, in a positive or negative, this is your life partner, your helpmeet. The way we address one thing could potentially damage that going forward for a day, a year, or years, or it can make it a greater relationship in the days and years to come.
Thank you for that. Let me tell you, before we go to brother, I'm going to pass it to brother Mark, but what you all just heard from Sister Ayanna, we get to hear from her in our MGT class. She's one of the instructors, so you know she's one of the reasons why we love coming to class. Just so the brothers know, we'll give you that much about class. We can tell you what else we talk about, but just want you to know how amazing she is. So you had a little bit of a peek into that. And I was blessed to attend a couple of weddings now, but essentially the last wedding that I attended here in Chicago, student minister Abel was the person officiating that wedding. And I felt like it was a Sunday. I wanted to bear witness and everything, and I couldn't do that because you're supposed to be quiet. And I was going to call you, Sister Ayanna, and say, girl, I don't know what you're doing with your husband, but girl, he was teaching at that wedding, girl. I was going to call you and tell you that, but so now I get to tell everybody in the whole world and you at the same time. So excellent, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now I'll pass it to my brother, Mark.
Thank you, Sister Katrina. We are truly fulfilling the theme of our shows, which is saving lives. And I want to thank the married couples that are here tonight. And even though this next question is scripted for Brother Abel and Sister Ayanna, I want to invite Brother Musa and Sister Nyah to share their input because they have a certain insight into this question from a different angle, and I want to explain. Because tonight's theme includes the phrase built to last regarding marriage. In the building of a structure, a home, a building, workers follow a blueprint 100%, after which there's regular maintenance. To build a marriage that will last, defying the odds of the divorce statistics, where do single believers start? Is there a premarital blueprint? And how is a healthy marriage built and maintained? So I want to start first with Brother. I know this is not quote unquote your question, but do any thoughts come to mind, Brother Musa, Sister Nyah, on
Brother
that
Mark,
question?
they are both architects, so they could.
I know.
Yeah, I think they're qualified to talk about building anything.
They have a perspective. They have an interesting perspective. I had to include them. So,
all praises due to Allah. No, absolutely, thoughts come to mind. I like to first say that a lot of the time, most of the time, the construction workers don't follow the blueprints.
Okay,
and there's problems because of that. So we can start there that, and that's on a physical sense, but in this case, we're talking about something where Allah, God, is the master architect and gave us the blueprint. And if we don't follow it, what can we expect to happen except ruin and pain and suffering and all of that? Right. As far as where should a single person start, you really have to start with yourself. Right. Before you can be fit to figure out how you can be with somebody else, you need to learn how you can be with yourself. You need to figure out where you're trying to go. You need to figure out what you're trying to do and who you are. The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan taught us, and it teaches us this in the Bible, that the woman is the helpmeet of the man, and she is to help the man to fulfill his duty and his destiny or his purpose. Well, if you don't know what you're trying to do, where you're trying to go, you have no business trying to find someone to help you go nowhere. So especially for the brothers out there, you need to figure out okay, what am I meant to do? And sometimes that can be intimidating, or it can be a lot of our younger people are struggling to figure that out for themselves. But the minister is giving us guidance. He says, think about what it is that you enjoy doing,
Exactly.
and that you're good at. And the thing that you enjoy doing and are good at is more than likely what you're meant to do. Think about the ways that you enjoy serving people. And if you can take what you're good at doing, what you enjoy doing, the way you like to serve people, and put all those together, somewhere in that is more than likely what it is that you're meant to do. And once you find that, then the people or the person who's best suited to help you is going to show up at some point or another. I love there's this verse in the Holy Quran in the 62nd or 63rd chapter. It's like the second or third verse, but I don't have the exact words, but it basically says that Allah provides for his servant from whence they perceive not. And so you weren't expecting it. You didn't see how the provision was coming, how the help would come, but Allah has already written the help is there, and he's just waiting on you to walk whatever steps you need to walk to get there. And so it really starts with just working on yourself, who you are, what you want, what you're interested in, and to make it very real, for the brothers, you need to know, how do you handle money? We all talk about finances, and finances are one of the big challenges with a lot of marriages. You need to know, how do you handle money? How do you handle money when you only have a little bit? How do you handle money when you have surplus? How do you handle money when you're going through hard times? And how do you handle money when you're going through easy times? How do you handle money when you get disappointed and you decide that you want something to comfort you and relieve you? Do you go and just go buy stuff and spend stuff and hope that that solves your problem? Or do you kind of stay grounded and stay focused?
Come on, man.
That's just one aspect. You need to develop yourself spiritually. You need to develop yourself economically. You need to develop yourself socially. Even just our thoughts. One of the things that I've observed in myself is really sitting and analyzing when things have come up in our marriage that are difficult, and these thoughts come up. And I have to sit and ask myself, is that actually my thought? Or am I just repeating things that I've heard from other people over the years that now I've internalized and I've accepted as the truth, but it's not actually what I feel deep down? And you have to really take the time to see those things, recognize them, and sit with them, analyze them, and figure out, like, what is this really? And a lot of the times it's not going to come out until your partner points it out. Like, they're going to be the one that makes you realize that it's there. And then you have to wrestle with that, because you may have been holding on to this thing to feel some sense of security or some sense of whatever. You may have been using it to protect yourself. And now your partner is pointing out that this is no. Oh, thank you. It was 65, 2 and 3. Thank you, Sister Akila. But now your partner is pointing this thing out that maybe in the past served a purpose, but now it no longer serves a purpose. And so you have to sit there and wrestle with it, and be humble enough to recognize that this is not me, and my partner is striving and trying to help me to grow so that we can be better together. And so really, it's all about learning yourself, if I had to just summarize all of that. And then the part about maintenance, I'll keep this short. Maintenance is very, very important. The minister told all of us brothers in particular, because the Holy Quran says that men are the maintainers of women. And the minister in the what is your role, the address to the married couples, he said that every brother should get a copy of Roget's Thesaurus and should look up the word maintenance and maintainer in there, and look at all of the words that are related to the word maintenance. That's every brother that's watching. That's your homework assignment. Look up the word in that thesaurus and look at all of the words that are related to maintenance. All of that is what we have to fulfill. And when you don't maintain from a building perspective, things naturally, if you're not doing anything to them, they're breaking down. The environment, sunlight, everything is slowly causing materials to erode, to deteriorate, and eventually repairs have to be done. A lot of times what happens is people don't know that things are breaking down, and so they never address them until something bad happens. And then all of a sudden it's an emergency and they got to figure out, and then it's super expensive at that point because this thing has been causing a problem for however long, but they just didn't know about it because they weren't observing. They weren't actively striving to maintain all this time. Instead, they waited until it's an emergency. And when it's an emergency, it's a lot harder to deal with. And so don't wait until you have an emergency. Work to maintain now. Go to get couples therapy when times are good, because it makes it a lot easier to go through things when times are bad. Don't wait to do whatever you see as maintenance. Don't wait to do it until you need to do it. Do it now.
Come on.
Praise be to Allah.
All
All
praise.
praise be to Allah.
What you saying?
We have any first time guests? No.
I think, though, in addition to what he shared, it really is all about self. And for the sisters, when you're single, we might feel a lot more pressure, maybe than the brothers. I don't know the pressure that they feel, but a lot of pressure to get married. And, they would say that if you're not married by the time you're 30, then you're considered an old maid. And that's not true. Allah is going to send you the one in the right time. He absolutely will. You just have to have the faith in Allah that he will. The minister tells us that Allah is making men every day. He's making new men. The brother for you is out there. When is he going to come? Allah knows the answer to that question. He's the all-knowing. But what do you do in the meantime? In the meantime, you have to get to know yourself. You have to love yourself. The minister has taught us that love is duty. So are you being dutiful to yourself first? Are you taking care of yourself? Are you showing yourself love by, maintaining yourself? Are you taking care of your hair? Are you making sure that your house is clean? Do you know how to cook? Are you familiar with the 7 training units that we should be very familiar with? All of these different things help you get prepared for being a wife. So there's a lot of things that we can do. And one of the other major things that is not only for women, both men and women should embark upon a self-healing journey prior to marriage. And it's not that you have to be 100% healed by the time you say I do on the rostrum, because I don't think that's possible. But you have to start that process yourself. Look at yourself, analyze, self-improve, figure out whether or not you need to go to therapy, go get audited, speak to somebody, have conversations with your mother, your parents, your closest people that love you, and walk yourself back in time to find the different traumas that you've encountered that are affecting your life. And we have to do this because there's things that we don't know about that are affecting the way that we view things. And you might carry that into your marriage. And so it's important to start that healing process. And then when you meet your partner and you get married, you have conversations. That's where communication comes in. Communication is very important. You communicate. This is something that I'm dealing with. And your partner helps you work through that. So I think there's a lot of things to do before marriage while you are single. But as sisters, we for sure just have to know that Allah is going to send us the right one when it's time.
Yes.
One last thing I'll say. Personally, I have a lot of conversations with sisters, especially regarding ID9, and you don't want to feel left behind when all of your friends around you are getting married. And so you may be
talking about that.
There. You might be looking and say, Allah, where is he at? And so you stop doing the things that you're supposed to be doing, and you start putting your nose where your nose doesn't belong, because we aren't what's that word? Okay, the brother is supposed to pursue you. You aren't supposed to pursue the brothers.
Right,
but if you are interested, of course, you can let your student captain know. But I hear from a lot of sisters that it wasn't until they stopped looking that Allah sent them the one. And I can bear witness to that because it was the same thing for me. I felt like I had to get married, which was crazy because I was really young, but I felt like I had to. And then when I got to a point where I was like, okay, Allah, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm just going to continue working on myself. And he sent me my husband. All praises due to Allah.
All praises due to Allah.
Brother Abel and Sister Ayanna, what is your insight on that question?
Before I give my insight, I have to show a full circle moment and the beauty of nation building in our nation, like having families in our nation, because both of them, me and my husband, are very close to their families, their parents, like very close to their parents. And they were both like my students. Like Musa was my second and third grade student, in school. And Nyah has been my baby since she was in, pre-kindergarten. And to see them both be married, and then my daughter is an architect, because she's in school to be an architect, and they are both her mentors. And so all of that, this is the power of why we have to fight for families, and why we have to fight to build families and be together as community, and be in our community, actively in our community with one another, sharing sisterhood and brotherhood, where we become families with one another. Look at just, they're giving back in the sense of like having my daughter, with what they do. And so, and they, and in more ways than one, not just architecture, because I think my daughter harassed them the whole time they were courting. But anyway, just like, and daughters, they were very excited over seeing two people that they've known since being young, little children, getting married, and watching them go through a courtship process. And they were excited over that, watch them. So they harassed them, I'm sorry, but like they were just giddy over it. And that's the beauty of nation building, and why we have to fight for those families, to build family in our communities, help maintain marriages and grow marriages so they produce their own set of children. And so I just wanted to say that, because as I was watching them talk, I was like beaming with pride over here, y'all. And I was like, look at them, so that's so I just had to just put that out there, because just seeing them, do that. But can you repeat the question again? Just
Absolutely. I can definitely do that. Tonight's theme includes the phrase "built to last" regarding marriage. In the building of a house, workers should follow a blueprint. Blueprint. Thank you, Brother Musa. Should follow a blueprint 100%, after which there's regular maintenance that should be performed. To build a marriage that will last, define the odds of divorce. Where do single believers start? Is there a premarital blueprint? And how is a healthy marriage built and maintained?
I think they actually said it, like in the kind we always say it. They said kind of what we always say too, like in a sense of self-improvement. It's the self first. It really is the self. By the time my husband came along, I was the assistant in charge in the city, and I was laser focused on helping build that city. So I was not thinking about a brother. I had just graduated from college. I was in my career as a teacher, working and learning. I had gotten to a point where I was truly comfortable with being with myself. So I was not in pursuit of a mate. Of course, I was like Nyah initially, like, want to be married. I had helped all these Muslim families. I was taking care of their children and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, I want one of my own, and I had those moments, but really just kind of, Sister Ava used to always say, like, focus on the mission. And that was like my mantra as a young girl. And I just went focus on the mission. And I was in a little small city. For those in them little small cities, I didn't get registered in Chicago. I was in a little small city, and the age range was, one brother was 16, and another brother was 84. I mean, it was like 70s, it was like these ranges, and I was 24, and it was like, where could potentially my mate come from? And I just was like, look, Allah is God. And I just pushed the mission and was in those streets. And then my husband showed up in that city, so like and it was Allah showing me, like, this is so easy, Ayanna. Like, when it's time, we really don't have to chase it. The minister told us when he told us when he had us in the barn for relationships, he had told us like when Allah is ready, one will pop up. So don't say like there's nobody here or in my city or this or that, because he said when Allah is ready, one will pop up that you never noticed.
Listen.
He said one will pop up you never even noticed. So we don't have to chase it. We don't have to chase it. We just have to keep improving, because the more we improve and raise our quality of ourselves, we also draw something better too. So, do we want to draw what we once were, or do we want to draw a more elevated state of mind to ourselves? So that self-improvement is a big piece. And if you're not accustomed to looking at yourself and facing your own shortcomings, that's going to be a problem. So like getting comfortable with the self and getting comfortable with improving self, building that relationship with Allah and studying these teachings, that has to be the foundation of yourself. So it can be the foundation of your marriage. So it can be the foundation of your family growth. It has to be. So we don't have to play costume Muslim. We can really be Muslims in our homes and really establish that in our homes. And that's that single sister and that brother, take your time, develop yourself, find out who you are. Find out who you are. Who are you in this? Who are you? Find out who you are. If you don't know who you are, why would you take on the responsibility of somebody else? You don't know who you are. So find out who you are, what you are, where you are. Sister Nyah pulled out that book from Brother Nuri, but when I was a young Muslim in our classes, it was Sister Jennifer from Phoenix who taught. She said, you make a list of your wants and your needs, and you prioritize that list on what are the things you're not willing to compromise and what are the things you're willing to compromise. And then you create questions from your wants and your needs.
Come on.
But you can't do that if you don't know who you are, because your wants, your needs, your reference. If your reference point is an old relationship, you're already in trouble. Your wants and your needs have to come from within in your relationship with Allah. Of course, there are life lessons we learn along the way we can add to it. But if you're thinking about, brother, Andre was terrible at doing, I sure don't want that. And Keisha was horrible. I sure don't want that. If that's all you can structure your wants and needs based off of, you're gonna have a problem, because that does not bear witness that you know who you are.
Right.
So your wants and needs have to be who you are. And the same for me, Sister Nyah. When I met my husband, I was very comfortable being with myself, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for a courtship. I'm happy with me. And then when we finally got into that courtship and I broke out my notebook and I was like, okay, I started refreshing, looking at things and started asking him questions. And he 100% checked off those things that I was not willing to compromise on. And even the things I was willing to compromise, he was there, alive and well, and not something that I made up in my mind because I wanted him to fit. Because we do that too. So not something I wanted him to fit. No, I like legit observing, asking, looking, and I went to Allah when it was done. Show me a sign that this is the man you chose for me. And that is, I think that's like, because if you don't ask Allah, if you don't know who you are, and then you've mischosen, you haven't talked to the God, it's easy to throw away a marriage because you don't have the stamp of the God on it. So it's really, really important as a single believer, like they both said, it's the development of self,
right?
Getting comfortable with yourself. If you are not comfortable with being by yourself, don't get into a marriage, because you need to be comfortable with being with yourself first. Because that he doesn't supply my happiness, I do.
Come on.
He compliments it, but I supply my happiness. He's not responsible for my happiness. I am.
Right.
And so that, and so I can model for him what the happiness is for me, and he can add on to that.
Right.
Or introduce me to something else. And my husband has introduced me to so many things because intelligence was so important for me. Not just Indio intelligence. My husband is Indio intelligent, but he's also intelligent and teaches the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. That was number one for me. Was that. That was number one for me. And so because of that, then I can be introduced to new things and be grown into new things and be assisted, and he can guide our children. And so it's so important to know who you are, what you need, what's important to you, and be those things. Give yourself time to be some things that you weren't, you know. So
man.
And just real quick, I'll add this to it. You know, just that point I think is the most critical that my wife just made is we're coming into Islam, and there's a duality here because we have some who are like Nyah and Musa, most of, if not all of their lives, they've grown up in Islam. But the world is still trying to impinge on us and insert into us ideas. And we have experiences, or I believe it was Sister Nyah, you mentioned it, sometimes we have things that are ill affecting our relationships and just our own personal growth. And we don't go to figure out how or where is this coming from. When we first come into the nation, whether we've grown up in a Muslim quote unquote household or are coming in off the streets, we're really still in the same predicament. We're trying to figure out who am I? And if I can't get a read on who is my original self, right? So we all write the letter, whether you grew up in a Muslim household or not, we write that letter to the master saying we're giving up our name because that represents our old way of doing things. The most dangerous thing, I think, is to not completely separate from that and then try to choose a mate. When you're not even clear yet on who you are, how can you pick or find someone to complement an unknown? So unfortunately, most of the times, you all ever seen that movie Venom?
Yes.
Yes.
Spider-Man, it's that black gooey thing.
Yes, sir.
It's not by accident it's called Venom, right? It becomes one with you. And at a certain point, it's like it thinks it's doing you a favor, trying to feed you. It's gonna, it has this weird like ego personality, super ego personality that just wants to destroy and devour anything. None of us would consciously choose to accept venom into our thinking, but many of us function from that. We're functioning from poisonous thoughts that ultimately will kill our future and kill our growth as Muslims, because we're picking from an old world. We're picking from an old mind. We're still making decisions, and our concepts of what a relationship even is still based on an old idea. The relationship in the old way of things was just that's somebody I kick it with, somebody I think looks nice, that I have an attraction to. There's chemistry there, we call it, but I don't really know them. I don't really care to know them. I don't even know how to know them because I don't even know me. So it's just based on feeling. And once that feeling goes a certain way, well, it's just a feeling. I'm cutting it off. This is not that by any means of your. That's not how you build a world. That's how you destroy people. Because the more we do that, it's like getting more and more venomous bites amongst us, right? And the poison stays in us. And now we're mixing poisons. And we're like, man, I can't understand. I've been watching YouTube all day, listening to marriage advice from single people. Why am I having so much trouble? Why do you what was that brother's name? I don't even want to mention his name, but we start listening to others who tickle our ear, and then we make mischief in our own lives when all we need is sound doctrine. We've been given the way, it's outlined, it's been exemplified in front of us, but we have to make a decision. All right, I don't understand all of this yet. Let me slow down. Yeah, I like that sister. She says she like me. I ain't in no position. I don't even know what I want to do with my life. How can I pick a mate? And I'll tell you this, finances is the least of your worries. It is a worry. Don't get me wrong. It's a worry. And you should worry about it. But it's the least of your worries.
Wow.
It's the least of your worries. I had nothing when me and my wife got married, but I had Islam. I didn't have a job, but I didn't have a house. No. But I didn't have a house. I didn't have a car. No house, no car, no savings like that. Nothing like that. So we had a simple, but I had a wife who understood and saw something in me because I loved this word. So she met me in a mission already that I had just started in. I wasn't ever seeking the mission. I wasn't trying to be a minister. But I loved Allah and I wanted to help. So they said, help by being a minister. I said, okay. And once the minister tells you that, you can't tell him no. So you start figuring out that maybe this is what you're supposed to do. And so I'll never forget. When me and my wife got married, I asked her father, I was blessed to ask her father for permission. Before he passed, he didn't live to go to our wedding. but he did bless us to be married. And we were so little broke Muslims back then. She had a little car, and her father and mom, we would take the train to the city that we were study group coordinator over, and we would take the train back into the city. But all of that time we were talking about what? Not how cute she was. No.
Right.
I fell in love with her because we were talking about the teachings, and I was watching her affect our people in the community with those teachings. And when they would come to the study group, I would see how she would handle them when they showed up with heroin needles in their bags. Never with hate, never with coldness.
Come on,
with
man.
compassion and love. So I saw that she loved what I loved, and that made me love her. At first, I was in my mind just making small talk, saying, I wasn't ready to be married, but I'm like, I like this sister. And she knew all the sisters because she was a vanguard. So I was telling her about other sisters she liked, or I liked, that she knew, so she could tell me about them a little bit. And the more I talked to her, I realized she has all the things that I'm looking for. And then, so like she said, Allah will present to you. And so then I started getting my life a little bit more in order, because I said, well, I put in my courtship papers, and she knew what I didn't have, but she also knew what I had. And I'll never forget, Minister Ishmael asked questions during our courtship counseling before we were getting married.
Courtship counseling.
He advised her and asked me in front of her certain questions that we would not necessarily think to ask one another. Straight out. Do you have any criminal background? Do you have any warrants out?
Good question.
Do you have any premarital, all of these stuff? I had a son already. She knew, she had already met my son. But he, as a good big brother, was looking out for her and for me as well. But he was asking questions that we might not, because we're in the moment of being attracted and best foot forward. We don't think about these things necessarily. So I would absolutely advise, first, every Friday I was in study group. As a matter of fact, Friday we were in study group. Thursday we had another study group in another city in Aurora, Illinois. Wow. Wednesday we had another study group in Bolingbrook, Illinois. And Monday we had men's class, Saturday sisters class, and in the community Sunday lecture. So we were in the study group 3 times in those study guides. And that is, I was in the study group on Fridays when I got pulled into the ministry class. That class on Friday is critical. Because if the basis for development is self-improvement, is the basis for community development. And the only way the community can get better is if you get better. Well, there is a component between self and community, and that's family. So the missing component is, you can only be as good to the community as you are to the marriage. And what you bring to the marriage is either an improving self or a declining self. And that's the part that is the most critical. That if you're on that path, we'll be okay in our marriage. If you've never been and don't like that path, that's like onions and garlic to a vampire. Stay away from that right there. You don't want that. You don't want that. And I'm saying that humorously, but for real, if somebody's not willing to improve themselves, marriage is all about self-improvement.
Right.
Help meet, by definition, help. Look at the word is in there, help. Brother Musa, you said it so beautifully. You don't need help going nowhere, doing nothing. You can do that by yourself.
You can do that all by yourself.
But we gotta help one another to be better. That starts with helping ourselves. Do unto others as you want done unto you. If I'm not willing to help myself, why are you expecting me to help you? That's all I got to say.
My God.
God Almighty, man. Lord, thank y'all for those answers.
We're moving towards the latter part. We're like about 20 minutes to close the program. We do have questions from we have 4 questions from Muhammad Mosque number 46, aka Student Minister Willie. We know you're tuning in.
Mr. Willie.
And let me post up one of these questions here.
Is this Brother Willie who came in the door one day and he said he never, he came through the door, he heard it before, he never lets the music magnetize him anymore? Is that the same Brother Willie?
He's got the tape, I'm sure.
He's gonna respond, beloved. We'll more likely confirm that. Let me read the question here. Were there any ideas you had about marriage prior to being married that you realized after marriage they were true or really unrealistic?
Good question.
Awesome.
Good question.
It's a good question.
Yeah. Who's going to answer
Brother
first?
Looks like they had something.
You could go ahead.
You could go ahead, Musa and Nyah. I think
they're fresher. They're newer at this.
Go first. Okay. I can share on this first. I don't think per se I had an unrealistic view on marriage. I think my view has been pretty realistic so far, but there were some things that I didn't expect. Just as Brother Abel was sharing earlier, there's a difference in the way that a woman thinks versus the way that a man thinks, or it was Sister Ayanna. And I realized that because that's not something that I would have just known. I've never been married before. So now I'm dealing with a totally different way of thinking, a totally different perspective that I just really don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. And what we've learned that it takes is proper communication, which we were talking about earlier. It's proper communication. I know that we're both acting out of the nature that Allah has created us in, being a female and a male. And so when we communicate, we have to keep in mind our natures and be mindful of what that may mean in regard to the way that we react to these conversations, whatever the topic may be. And so I think my main thing so far being married is really just where our minds are at in the way that we comprehend and understand situations, because it's not really the same at all. And so I find value in asking, why did you think that? Or what made you decide to do that? But not out of a place of I'm angry, or a place of judgment. Like I'm not saying, why would you do that? Maybe I did say that one time. But it's like, why did you do that? Like I'm genuinely curious as to why your brain is working this way. And so I find a lot of value and I appreciate everything that I've heard today, because we're young in marriage, so we can apply everything that we've heard to our marriage. All praises due to Allah. Was there anything that you had unrealistic expectations?
I don't think. No.
Careful.
I don't think.
He's like, no, not at all.
Yeah, no. I don't think I had any unrealistic expectations either. Something, and this isn't necessarily specific to marriage, but our marriage has helped me to see this, and this is just my opinion. But earlier it was mentioned to do unto others as you would like to have done unto you. And what I started to at least see for myself is that's really a starting point. And I say that because there would be certain things that, Brother Abel, earlier you talked about how the man is not considerate by nature. And there'll be moments where I'm trying to be considerate. And I'll think about, okay, well, if I was in this situation, I would want somebody to do this for me, X, Y, Z. And so that's what I do for her. And then I go on to discover that exact thing is the complete opposite of what would make her feel good, what would make her happy, what would help her. And so I had to, it is still doing unto others that you would have been, because it's still what I'm really at the root of it. I'm trying to help.
Exactly.
But what I learned is, you really have to learn your partner, and you really have to learn how to do unto them as would be good for them, as they would appreciate. Because it's really about whatever you're doing is really about how part of it is about how they're perceiving it. If everything that you do, if they like earlier, Brother Abel mentioned that letter from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. If he had just said what he had on his heart to say to his son, even though in it is good and truth and all of that, if his son is not in a place to receive it well, it would ultimately be detrimental to the son and to their relationship. Wow. And so, you know, we have to recognize that there's a time and a place for everything, and that everything's not as simple as how we perceive what is good, what is right, what someone else might appreciate. You really have to take the time to learn your partner, and it takes time. I mean, Sister Ayanna mentioned earlier, we are constantly evolving. That means we're constantly changing. Yeah. And so even the way that we thought previously, that's going to change. The way, whatever we appreciated, those things are going to change. And that's why you have to stay committed every single day to coming together, because the person that you were 5-10 years ago is not the same person that you are no more. You guys might have been like that back then, but this is a new you and a new them. Absolutely. So every day we have to strive to become one. And so I would say it's that learning that doing unto others as I would have them do unto me is bigger than just whatever I appreciate and whatever I see as helpful. Yeah, it's really taking patience and humility and just being willing to learn your partner. That's beautiful. Beautiful. That's beautiful. Praise be to Allah.
I think one of those unrealistic expectations I think, you know, I had was probably the idea, like, because we're both, you know, we study, like we'd be like, you know, come on, let's do it. You know, let's do it all the time. You know, like, oh, you know, like this kind of like this thing that's going to be in our house of like, you know, like, you know, oh, you know, oh, you know, like this kind of ethereal thought, and not realizing like that we have to figure out what our dance is. You know, like, how does that look in our lives in real time, in the realities that we are in, you know? Right. I'm only thinking of it for myself as a single sister, really, you know, like, you know, and so like, you know, I think those things, those simple things sometimes that we put, even realizing that, you know, you have to, even though in courtship, you might ask a question, what's your values, this and that, there's still a lot of layers of the value system of each individual. So sometimes, you know, we could be guilty of projecting our value system onto our mate. Like it's just an automatic assumption that we have the same value system. And it's like, no, not if we're not really discussing those things constantly and, you know, drawing that thing out and being clear about that as we grow and evolve on what these value systems are. So or, you know, I've heard others, you know, sometimes put on that relationship with the husband what their father did. It's like, well, that person is not your father. You know, like that person is not, you know, your father. Your father maybe was a handyman. Your husband may not be a handyman. You know, like it's just like these kind of, I think sometimes our teaching is so beautiful, but we don't realize how many layers is underneath it. So like, you know, we may have if you study the teachings, you may draw a picture inside yourself on what a brother does, and a picture inside yourself on like what a sister does, and you realize, and then in a marriage when it shows contrary to that, you're like, wait a minute,
false expectations, right?
Hold on, you know, and not realizing like, oh wait, I gotta learn who you are. Right. Musa said it excellently, you know, like I have to get to know who you are before I can impose this idea of what I think you are. You know, so I think that sometimes what's dangerous can be dangerous in a marriage is just like this idea of like imposing on the other the unsaids. It's those quiet unsaids of like what a man is, what a woman is, what a woman should do, what a man should do. That we have an outline for sure, but there's still an individual person in that space that nobody's like that person. It's only one of them on the planet. So I have to figure out who you are, what you need, what's your about. You know, there's a lot in that when you start peeling back your ego and realizing, oh, I'm clashing because I keep imposing on this person expectations that they're not, and they're not mad because they're not meeting them, but that's because it's not them.
Right.
You know,
expectations.
May I add on to what Sister Ayanna was sharing about expectations? I think perhaps one reason why we haven't dealt with too many unrealistic expectations so far in our marriage, we're only 10 months in, but because during our courtship or maybe our engagement, we created a list of expectations for our husband and wife, for each other, and then expectations for ourselves during our marriage. And so we went through this list, like we had a whole meeting about it. And I think that having those expectations that are already set has helped us so far throughout our marriage, so that we can hold ourselves accountable and that we can hold one another accountable. And then, I was going to say something else, but I just forgot. But I'll leave it at that.
I'll just add this, and hopefully it comes back to you, Sister Nyah. I was thinking about this right now as you both were, you and my wife were speaking. But those expectations sometimes, I don't want it to sound harsh, but we're really delusional in how we perceive love coming out of this world. We've never seen it. Yeah. And it's not cold, but marriage is a contract. It's an agreement at its base and root. It is a formal document that you sit in our way. You sit and you sign the document, and it's expectations. I agree to do this and this and this and this. And I give you, and I'm going to give you this and this and this and this. And now it's a contractual agreement that we're both obligated to upkeep and uphold this, right? Now, somebody might say, well, where's the love in that? We don't even know what love is. That's the problem with it. We think love is where it's missing to make us feel better. That's not what love is. So we're totally off at the beginning, and we're chasing this fantasy that isn't real, and we're not grounded in reality. Because at the root of it, if God is love and God is a spook from the way we've been raised, then what do we make love? Something unreal and spooky too.
Yeah, very spooky.
When it is as grounded as the physical reality of God. So marriage then is also grounded and naturally grows out of that same reality. And the problem is we don't take enough time to study it. We're worried about it's an emotional high. We romanticize it. We make it something, ethereal is the right word, which is unreal now, unrooted. Right. Well, no, love is the bond, and it is cultivated within the bond of marriage. So the love we had 25 years ago, we were talking about the other day, that's not even love.
Wow.
Come on.
You have to go through something to get to love. How do you know that? Because God is love. You can't access God on some cheap emotion or feeling.
Right.
It takes something to grow and get access to that. Why are we tried every year? To get closer to Allah. So then we're tried as individuals and in our marriage. And if we withstand it, the love manifests and grows. The faith manifests and grows, and we get closer. When do you get there? When we take our last breath and complete our vow. Till death do us part. Then you can take the last breath of a Muslim married man, complete in faith, not just holding on to half of faith.
Beautiful. Okay.
Mic drop.
Yes.
All right. So,
everybody.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I know, y'all.
Go ahead.
I know.
And you know this is coming.
I know. Okay. So, I know that our time is nigh. Would you all?
And right now we got a whole bunch of questions.
And we have, when I say we have a
whole lot of more
questions
in our box.
Got a whole lot of more.
And so many people, like I said, you all have, they've been anticipating this show.
Crazy.
And so with that being said, can you all join us for a part 2 of this show?
And you putting them on the spot.
I see, I have to, because you know how,
yes.
you know, in the courtship process, we have to take them to court. So we have to put them on the stand. I'm just
and ask good questions. Exactly. Take them to court,
Right,
Sister Kalila. Ask those real relationship questions. Will you commit to coming back? That's what we want to know. The people want to know.
The people want to know. You know, inquiring minds want to know.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Katrina is in your city because you know she's going to remind you if you agree.
Oh, Sister Katrina does not play. Sister Katrina does not play at all.
No, she don't.
Listen, and look, we need this is what we need. Encore, repeat.
Katrina is all business.
Popular demand.
The people have spoken.
Honestly, though, we really would love for you all to come back, because I don't know if you've been watching the bottom feed in terms of the comments from people. People are loving what the two of you have to say, and they're loving the diversity of a couple that's been married a couple of decades versus a couple who's newly married, hasn't celebrated their first year, but they have a lot to give. They have a lot to share. And especially believers who, like you noticed, Sister Ayanna, grew up in the nation, right? And so we're seeing a lot of those type of marriages at number two, and hopefully around the nation. But they have a lot to share, even though they haven't even been married 1 year. But they have a lot to share about that journey that got them to the point of where they are now. And on top of that, they had the two of you as chaperones. So you know, it was destined to be fantastic. But honestly, we would really be honored and very, very happy if you all would accept the invitation to come back for part two. And we could talk about the date, but hopefully you will agree to do that.
Yes, ma'am.
I think the crowd that's watching is like, they want you back. They make that very clear.
Yes, ma'am. Praise be to God.
Be honored.
Oh, praise be to Allah.
We'll definitely be honored. We'll definitely be honored.
Praise be to Allah.
Thank
Part
you so much.
2, please.
Thank you.
We need this across the nation.
Part 2, Sister Yolanda.
Praise be to Allah. Praise be to Allah.
Do we want to squeeze another question in?
No, we don't. No.
Like, no more time.
No.
Praise be to Allah.
We're going to keep them on the edge of the seat.
Right. And with that being said, all you part 2 and encore and love for this show, we
love it, family.
Your help.
Family. We are family.
We are family.
This work here is a labor of love. However, we do have costs that we are incurring using the streaming service that we do use. They don't tell us all of you about saving people's marriages and saving people's lives and saving people's relationships. You're so nice. We're just gonna let you stream for free. Don't work like that.
No.
We do need your support, beloved family. Presently, this is the avenue through which you can donate. If you have another way that you would like to donate, or you just don't have Cash App, we understand. You can just reach out to us. We'll figure out a way. But this is the way that you can donate to help us continue these programs, which are about saving lives. Being married is about saving lives because it's half your faith.
Yes.
And so we can't forget about that. And if we're not married, then we're not really completing that aspect of ourselves. We're really handicapped.
Right.
So, beloved family, please donate whatever you can tonight. Anything will do. No amount is too low. And I'm going to say also, no amount is too big. If you'd like to make a donation, a large donation, we will also accept those and we will put it to good use. May Allah continue to bless you all and your families.
All right. Praises be to Allah. Stay tuned. We are in our relationship series. It looks like it's continuing by popular demand. So praise.
It's like, what do y'all mean is that there's a limited series?
Right.
We gonna keep it going.
Yeah, right. Like, okay.
Y'all making this
Wow.
work here.
So tune in next Thursday. We will be coming to you with another, as they said in the in the streets, another banger. Is it banger? I don't know. See, you can tell, I'm telling my age at this moment.
That's not my lane.
Oh, here we go. But anyway, another exciting show.
Yeah, that has to be Brother Musa and Sister Nyah.
How would you should
defer?
Is it a
banger?
Banger. Thank you. Another banger. Thank you. Another banger. Next Thursday. So stay tuned. May Allah continue to bless you all as we leave you as we came in the beautiful greeting words of peace in the Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.